U.S. Supreme Court, as you know, giving Donald Trump a sweeping victory, ruling that states cannot kick him off their primary ballot. That vote was unanimous, sending Democrats and then the mainstream media into a tizzy, such as thus.
I think this court has had, obviously, some pretty big issues. With that said, we live in a country of rule of law. We have to respect the court's decisions while disagreeing with them. And honestly, I think that's something that MAGA Republicans could take a lesson from. It's okay to disagree with decisions and one another and not turn into violent rhetoric and attempts to steal elections.
Okay, that is the Colorado Secretary of State, and this is Jonathan Turley. Sir, good morning to you. I made the point last hour. She's elected, is she not, in Colorado? Do you know that? Because the state Supreme Court is not. They're appointed, but she's elected by the people there. So you're writing this today. Here we go. Democrats rush to keep Trump off the ballot after SCOTUS decision because election can't be left to voters. I don't know what time you wrote that yesterday, but Jamie Raskin, a Democrat in the House, shortly thereafter said this about to continue the pursuit.
I'm working with a number of my colleagues, including Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Eric Swalwell, to revive legislation that we had to set up a process by which we could determine that someone who committed insurrection is disqualified by Section 3 of the 14th Amendment.
So I don't know what time you wrote your piece, to be honest with you, but the timestamp on that comment from CNN is 12:06 p.m. Eastern Time, which is almost 2 hours exactly after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled. So they're not done yet, Professor.
No, and Bill, what's fascinating about that is that the Supreme Court said in its opinion that there's no reason why the public should have to endure the chaos that this has brought in the election. And Representative Raskin immediately responded, oh, yes, they do. And we will bring that chaos to Congress. We will seek to disqualify President Trump and others. Keep in mind that the Democrats have sought not just the disqualification of Donald Trump. Some of those members are seeking the disqualification of dozens of their colleagues because they supported the campaign against certification. So this is a sweeping attack on the choice of voters. It is an effort to cleanse ballots before an election. And to these members, nothing says democracy like stopping democratic choice. And so the question for the public is going to be, when will the public, like the courts, say enough? You know, that you need to go and you need to win the election. Convince us. Don't take the choice away from us.
Yeah. Okay, on another matter, the Fani Willis case has not yet been settled. I don't know when you think that judge is going to issue his decision. Maybe it's a week from now, maybe longer. We'll see. Maybe it comes any day. But the attorneys are going after Terrence Bradley, who was on the stand last week. And they believe he lied, and they believe this deputy DA by the name of Cindy Lee Yeager can prove it, and they're trying to get the judge to allow her to testify, if I've got all that right. But she's from Cobb County, and Fani Willis and everybody else is from Fulton County, just to the south of that. Let me take you back to Bradley on the stand about the speculation that he says about when this affair all began.
No, I have no direct knowledge of when the relationship started. I was speculating. I didn't have no one told me I was speculating.
No one told you that?
No one told me that.
Okay, so, I mean, it's his word up against everybody else's. The idea is that the relationship began in November of 2021, and these other folks are coming out and saying, no, it was well on by then. Professor.
Yeah. Well, it was painful to watch. It had that look of a hostage tape where he was just saying, I know nothing, I heard nothing, if I said anything, I didn't mean it. The problem is that this is getting worse by the day. So this new filing has another attorney, an officer of the court, saying, look, I heard that testimony and I was shocked because I did hear with absolute clarity the opposite of what was being stated to the court. And so you have this situation for the judge where you have emails where there isn't any ambiguity. He is very clear that this relationship began before Wade was hired. And now you have this other attorney saying, yeah, that was the same clarity that I heard. So how does the court deal with that? What is very clear is that the continuation of Wade and Willis is undermining their case, undermining their office, and they have put their interests before that of the public. I am quite astonished that they have not stepped aside. They have an independent professional obligation towards their office, obviously to the people of the county. I don't believe that they're shouldering that responsibility, regardless of what the court is doing or will do.
Wow. We'll see whether or not Cindy Lee Yeager is to be heard from in that court sometime soon. Thank you, sir. Do you think it'll happen or no?
Thank you,
Will the judge allow it?
I'm not so sure. I would bet against it. I think that this judge is ready to make a decision, and this drip, drip, drip is going to have to stop. But it's in the record, and he may have to take note of it.
Got it. Thank you, sir, very much. Seems like we talk every day.
Thank
See you
you.
tomorrow. Thank you.
Plenty of material.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.